Liam stalked the corridors of the Spencer estate that evening, muscles tensed, every nerve tuned to a single purpose: find Luna. The Spencer house pulsed with laughter and music, champagne bubbles shimmering in the lighting, clusters of well-heeled guests drifting through rooms and hallways, oblivious to the brewing storm. Liam moved along the walls, eyes narrowed, senses alert, heart pounding like a war drum. He'd seen the signs: a fleeting silhouette behind a frosted window, the whisper of laughter that didn't match any guest, a shadow slipping across the mantel, gone in an instant. Those were Luna's markers, elusive, nerve-grating signs that she was here. She was somewhere in this house, poised to shatter everything he'd worked to bury. The dread coiled in his chest like a viper ready to strike. He slipped past the grand staircase, rehearsing the moment he would confront her. The question throbbed in his mind: why now, at a party hosted by the Spencers? Was it calculated cruelty or desperate strategy? He recalled Luna's past manipulations, the secret she'd clutched like a lifeline. She knew about contests of inheritance, whispered scandals among the Forrester and Spencer clans, skeletons in closets. If she re-emerged here, in the lion's den, she could unravel alliances, expose betrayals, cast shadows over legacies. Liam's jaw clenched as he stepped through the dining salon, the crystal chandelier casting kaleidoscopes across expensive china. Guests murmured about business deals and new fashion lines, utterly oblivious to the threats slinking among them. Liam's eyes flicked to the gardenia hedge-lined labyrinth lit by soft lanterns. He'd glimpsed her there, in his mind's eye, her silhouette slipping between rose-red blooms, silhouette sleek in a dark gown, eyes glinting with intent. If that had been her, she was playing a dangerous game teetering between exposure and annihilation. He breached the glass doors and into the garden, footsteps muffled on grass, breath catching in his throat. The hush welcomed him. He scanned every shadow, every rustling leaf, every distant laughter from inside. Then, a flash perfume and stare. Luna, at the far edge near the fountain, half hidden behind a trimmed hedge, watching him. Liam froze. Her eyes were twin flares of challenge, the corners of her mouth curving into a knowing smile. She raised a gloved hand, a wave or a dare, he couldn't tell. Then she vanished, slipping into darkness. Liam's pulse hammered. She'd been there. She was here. He surged forward, adrenaline staking its claim, as he rounded the hedge but found only emptiness and moonlit fountains. No trace of her. But footprints remained, a faint trail in damp grass leading back into the house, into the hall of trophies, a display of Spencer triumphs, family photos, awards, mementos, golden plaques. He caught his reflection in the gleaming surface of a trophy, eyes haunted. Wherever Luna was, she'd infiltrated deep. She was a ghost with a bone-sharp purpose. He followed, retracing the path only he had the instinct to see. Inside again, he moved through the library, a hushed sanctuary of leather and mahogany, scholarly hush disturbed only by his heartbeat. Could she be here? He'd seen her hand in old casebooks, notices she'd left in margins. He rifled through a stack of Spencer family histories. No message, no sign, but leather-spined diaries tilted at odd angles, pulled just askew. Was that her fault, or his fleeting nerves? He straightened one and realized a hidden hinge behind the shelf, a tiny lever. He pressed it, and a secret door yawned open. His breath tightened. Behind it, a narrow corridor, hush and shadow. He stepped in, the door clicking shut soft behind him. The hush deepened, confining, pressing. One step at a time he advanced, senses alive. And then the corridor spilled out into a private sitting room he'd never noticed. Moonlight filtered through gauzy curtains, illuminating blue velvet chairs and a glass coffee table scattered with old love letters, papers, some bearing Luna's handwriting in faint, elegant script. He strode toward them, heart hammering. Those letters held truths, admissions, fears, obsessions. Luna's words traced her path, her rage, her longing to be seen, to be heard, to have vengeance. His fingers brushed the top envelopedress to my shattered world, Liam. He prickled with dread. Was she beckoning him, baiting him? A slow creak behind him. He spun. Luna stepped into the moonbeam, pale, beautiful, fierce. Her gown shimmered like midnight oil. No smile this time, just a still, chilling gaze. "You found me," she said, voice low, electric. "And now, what?" He swallowed. He wanted to speak, to demand explanations, to plead, to condemn, but his voice deserted him. "Why here? Why now?" he managed. Her lips twitched. "Because the Spencers have everything: power, wealth, secrets buried beneath their fine carpets. And I want the truth out, for all to see. It belongs to me," his chest thundered. She advanced, the letters trembling between them. "You think you can bury me. You think you can live in peace. But I'm not gone. I'm not afraid. And I'm not alone." Liam sensed her meaning, that there were others, allies lurking. She plucked a letter, torn at its edges, and read aloud a line that made his blood freeze. "Everyone who lies will drown in the lies of the next generation." She let it fall. "This house," she said, "holds more skeletons than your hearts can bear." Her words echoed, drifting upward into the vaulted ceiling, ricocheting, ominous. Liam felt the weight of her gaze. No pity, no love, only determination. And beneath that, something darker, a promise of ruin. "Stop this," he whispered. "You're destroying everything." She laughed, soft and terrible. "I'm freeing the truth, Liam. And once you help me or stop me, changes nothing. Once unleashed, secrets feed like fire. They spread. They consume." She advanced, standing too close, her intensity scorching. "This party," she breathed, her eyes flashing with feral light, "is the perfect stage. A cage of drunken laughter and false toasts. Secrets will spill. Witnesses will gasp. Alliances will splinter. And then I step out, not from hiding but from truth." He reeled. Starlight flashed through the curtains, painting her in silver. He wanted to drag her into peace, to beg forgiveness, to salvage their history. But he knew those days were gone. She pulled back slowly, retreating into the dark corridor. "Catch me," she whispered, rattling. "Invitation? Curse." The door swung shut again, locking. Liam's hand slammed against the wood solid, mocking. He pounded it. "Luna," he roared. But only silence answered. The corridor beyond was empty. He backed into the sitting room, knees weak, letters spreading across the table like frost. He grabbed a handful, trembling. The word Spain, love, betrayal, each letter a dagger. He realized then he should have expected this. Luna hadn't disappeared. She'd collected strength in the dark, honing purpose. The clues had been there. The odd phone records, the cryptic messages from anonymous numbers, a figure in photos from recent events, face blurred. Hours later, in the ballroom, guests were drifting into the conservatory, where a crystal harpist plucked sorrow out of strings. Liam's chest heaved. He felt her presence watching. A chill ran down his spine. He walked back into the glare of lights and raised voices, letters still clutched. His mind raced. Luna would choose now to strike, perhaps by exposing those letters, or revealing someone's betrayal mid-toast, or by sending a message through the harpist's lament. Secrets that could crack foundations, ruin reputations, silicate deals, hidden romances. Paternity Liesel teetered on the edge. He forced himself to smile when a concerned guest rushed up. Steffi, her eyes sharp. "You okay?" she whispered. He nodded, blood pounding. She studied him. He wondered if she sensed Luna's presence too. He looked behind them, crowds dancing, clinking glasses, oblivious. But he knew. Luna was here. She intended to tear the veil. And all he could do was brace for the impact, for the sound of fragile alliances shattering. No one saw her slip into the part of Luna, lithe, dark, a predator among prey. She'd infiltrated. The stage was set. The first note of unraveling was about to strike, and Liam, wounded and watching, knew everything was about to change. Luna didn't blink as she crossed the floor of the Spencer ballroom, ghost-like under the chandelier's glare. The music swelled, laughter rang through the walls, but none of it reached her. She was calm, controlled, focused. She had made her choice. And Liam, he was no longer a variable, he was a threat. A loose thread that could unravel everything. she saw him across the room, standing stiff, pale, jaw clenched, clutching the letters like a dying man clings to breath. He hadn't told anyone yet, but he would. She knew him. He believed in truth, in justice, in doing the right thing, and that made him dangerous. She drifted behind a group of executives discussing a new media launch. She slipped past Hope, who was laughing too loudly at something fake. Luna slid along the edges of the crowd like a wraith, every movement calculated. She had one goal: stop Liam before he opened his mouth and blew everything apart. She had watched him long enough to know his patterns. He always moved toward isolation before action, retreating inward before striking, which meant he'd go upstairs soon. Maybe to the office, maybe to his father's room. Somewhere private, somewhere quiet, somewhere perfect. She got there first. The private suite above the ballroom was still locked, but that was no obstacle. She'd studied the Spencer house long enough. She knew the old servant staircases, the trick panels, the fallback exits. Luna was prepared. She moved like smoke, and minutes later, she was inside. She closed the door softly behind her. The room was dim, rich, silent. On the desk, a bottle of scotch, 2 glasses. She poured, slowly, deliberately, and waited. Downstairs, Liam's breathing was shallow. He could feel her watching him, though no one was there. He told himself it was paranoia, but his gut knew better. She wasn't gone. Not really. Not when her letters set burning a hole in his hand. Letters that could destroy reputations, lives. He turned away from the party, ascending the grand staircase without a word. Hope called after him, but he didn't hear her. He moved on instinct, toward clarity, toward the room. When he opened the door, she was already there, waiting. "Luna," he said. "Liam," she said, softly, as if nothing was wrong. The fire crackled behind her, casting amber light over her gown. Her face was calm, almost tender. "I knew you'd come." His fingers curled around the stack of letters. "I'm going to tell the truth. Everyone deserves to know what you've done." She nodded, as if considering it. "I thought you might say that. You drugged me. You lied to my family. You nearly destroyed Zen's career. And now you're back. For what revenge?" "No," she said, her voice sharper now. "Justice. You call this justice?" He snapped. "You're trying to destroy people who have already paid for their sins." Her smile flickered. "Then let me ask you something, Liam. Who paid when my mother was silenced? When your father buried what happened between us? When you..." She stopped, voice tightening. "When you walked away like it never mattered." He hesitated. And in that moment, she stepped closer. "I tried," she whispered, "to let it go. I tried to stay quiet. But you..." She looked at him like she was seeing a ghost. "You were always going to betray me." He stared into her eyes. "Luna, it's over. Whatever this is, it ends tonight." She handed him the glass of scotch. He didn't drink it. "Don't," he said. "I don't trust you." That was when her hand moved fast, elegant, and she pulled the letter opener from the desk drawer. Liam barely had time to react. "Luna," but she was already moving. The blade flashed once in the firelight. He stepped back, but not fast enough. She struck hard, clean, deep. He gasped. She pressed in, close to him, her hand tight on the hilt. "You shouldn't have followed me." Blood soaked his shirt. He dropped the letters. They fluttered to the floor like broken wings. She caught him as he fell. She whispered. "It's better this way." He tried to speak. A name, maybe. A warning. But nothing came. His eyes searched her face, confused, betrayed, disbelieving. And then he stopped. Still. Silent. Gone. She sat beside him, cradling his head like a lover. Her breathing was steady. Her hands were steady. Her resolve was unshaken. She reached into her purse and pulled out gloves, bleach wipes, a vial of liquid to dilute the blood. She had rehearsed this. She had always known Liam might force her hand. What she hadn't expected was how easy it felt. She cleaned quickly, methodically. She burned the letters in the fireplace. She adjusted his body, made it look like he had passed out from too much to drink. The wound? She would say he fell on the glass. Or perhaps she wouldn't say anything at all. Someone else would find him. Maybe hope. It didn't matter, because by then Luna would be gone. Back through the servants' staircase, back into the crowd. A ghost again, vanishing into champagne flutes and designer dresses. Her face calm, her posture perfect, her secrets safe. For now, the Spencer party raged on, oblivious to the corpse cooling upstairs. But the storm had broken. Luna was no longer hiding. She was rising. And the truth, she would decide when and if it ever came out.